Your desk is the most overlooked part of your entire setup. And the reason I say that very confidently is because that is the case for me, or at least it was. I've been using the same old Amazon gamer desk now for about 5 or 6 years. As a matter of fact, it's the one that you can barely see behind me. That desk was fine, it was cheap, but at the end of the day, I got what I paid for because over time, it started to become very unstable to the point where if I laid my forearms on the desk, it would start to tilt forward just enough to bring my camera shot down lower. And the moment I noticed that was the moment I said, hey, it's time to refresh my entire setup and get a new desk. And that's what I've been doing so far in 2025. And as a matter of fact, as I guess fate would have it, the stars aligned and I came into contact with Flexispot. Flexispot and I entered an agreement and they sent me their E7 Pro for the purposes of this review. They did not tell me what I had to say. They did not tell me to send them the video so they can review it before me publishing it or anything like that. Without further ado, let me walk you through my experience in 1 week of owning Flexispot's E7 Pro. From the time that we finished our agreement to the time that I got the first box, because if you go with a frame and a desktop, it's gonna come in 2 different boxes. I'd say it was roughly 4 days, all right? I got the desktop on Saturday of last weekend and then I got the frame on Monday. I ended up going with the chipboard walnut veneer finish. This is an absolutely beautiful finish and unironically matches my wooden floors here in my current room as well. The desktop itself is 72 inches long, 30 inches wide and 1 inch thick, or 6 feet long, 2.5 feet wide and 1 inch thick. The frame has a maximum capacity of 440 pounds, which is crazy because, for example, I weigh 200 pounds and this desk is strong enough to hold 2 me's and still have 40 pounds of weight to play with. As far as height's concerned, it can be adjusted from a minimum of 25 inches all the way up to 50 inches. As far as the width of the frame is concerned, you can adjust the width of the frame from 43 inches all the way up to 74 inches. Now, the width of the frame is going to be dependent on the desktop that you pair with it. So a smaller desktop means a smaller width. A larger desktop means a larger width. The E7 Pro's frame runs off of a dual motor system, and what this basically means is that each leg has its own corresponding motor to handle the raising and the lowering of the desk. Now, truth be told, I was expecting the motors to be loud. I was prepared for it. I had made peace with the fact. But the fact of the matter is that these motors are way quieter than I expected them to be. They are not loud and obnoxious and they cause 0 disruptions when in use. Are they totally silent? Of course not. But again, they're not obnoxiously loud. We also have a keypad that controls the raising and lowering of the desk itself via the up and down key respectively. It also has a lock key. Now this key allows you to lock the keypad, that way if anybody bumps to it, they don't accidentally cause the desk to go higher or lower. And you're also able to set 2 different presets, a standing preset and a sitting preset. But there's an additional feature, a secret feature that I accidentally discovered last night. When I was checking some stuff out underneath my desk to make sure everything was cool and tidy, I found out that the keypad comes with a USB-A port on the right-hand side. So if you take a USB-A cable to whatever USB end you want at the other end and you connect it to your mobile device, like so, boom, you can charge something like your phone directly from your desk. And that is really freaking cool. Putting the E7 together was an absolute breeze. I expected this to be a little bit more complicated, especially considering that we're doing a standing desk, but it was actually very straightforward. And this is coming from somebody who has years of experience putting together tons of different IKEA furniture and tons of other pieces of furniture for our home, where you get the instructions, they're not very clear, they're not very precise or specific, and oftentimes it can be very confusing. Another thing that I appreciate about Flexispot here is that they send you all of the tools that you need to put this thing together. And it's really simple. It's this. This little thing right here is the only tool you're gonna need to put this entire desk together. And A, it's incredibly useful. B, you can probably use this for other projects. And C, it's actually very well built and it's not a cheap piece of crap. So besides the desktop, besides the frame, besides the tools, the nuts, the bolts, the screws, and everything else that you need to put the desk together, they also package in a plethora of cable management options. You get a tray to screw underneath your desktop to run all your cables along. You have a cable management separator rubber pad thing that you can stick to the bottom or stick to the back, or frankly, you can stick it wherever you want, and you're able to use that to help separate some of the cables. It's not a whole lot. I think it's like 4 or 5. And it also comes with a roll of Velcro that you can cut to size, strips, all right? You can cut the size to use that to tie around bundles of cables to keep everything nice and neat underneath your desk. And let me tell you something, that is probably one of the most pro-consumer things I've seen in a while, because more often than not, having all that stuff added into your package usually costs additional money. And here, it comes in included. Everything I've covered so far in the video is all fine and dandy, but at the end of the day, what really matters is how it performs as a desk. Now I know a desk job is relatively easy. It just sits there, looks good, and holds your stuff. But you'd be surprised how many desks get that wrong and also look terrible while doing it. Well, as far as holding things, I have a triple monitor setup here in front of me, 3 27-inch monitors. I've got my Elgato prompter with my Canon N50 attached to it. I have 2 speakers mounted to the sides over here. I've got my desk mat, my mouse, my keyboard, my Stream Deck Plus, my headphones, and my controllers, and my phone, and my microphone, and the microphone arm, and that's it. And I still have plenty of real estate on this desk, which is what was incredibly important to me, is being able to have all of this on the desk while still having plenty of space to work with. It's not cramped, it doesn't feel small. I don't feel like I've wasted any space in the monitor setup that I've been able to execute here. And depending on what you have, right? If you have 3 monitors, the 6-footer is going to be perfect for you. If you have 2, then I don't think it'll be overkill, but you're gonna have a lot of room to play with if that's the case. As far as how smooth the desk operates when you're raising it or lowering it, it is very, very smooth. I dare say it's buttery smooth, all right? And the fact that there's a numerical display on the LCD screen on the keypad, I think it's incredibly helpful because it helps you learn numerically what your best setting is when you're sitting versus when you're standing, so that maybe you never forget what it's at. And I think that is so clutch, and yet such a small little thing that makes such a huge impact. One thing I noticed when I was looking at their desks is that their legs have a very interesting design. Usually you've got the flat part that sits on your floor, and then the vertical leg itself that's usually at the center of the leg itself. But on the Flexispot E7 Pros, and I think some of their other desks as well, the leg is actually recessed a little bit further back, which led me to believe that it was possibly going to be more prone to wobble, and it's not. Now I got the desk standing up, and I'm currently at 45.4 inches, which is pretty freaking tall if you ask me. And this is actually really freaking cool. I'm not gonna lie, I've always wanted to be able to do my videos standing up to some degree, and now I can, without having an annoying tripod in the back and all this other crap. This is so much easier than having all that set up. And let me see here. We do have a little bit of wobble, which makes sense because what I'm noticing here is that the legs start off thick at the bottom, and as they extend into the different sections, as you're raising the desk up, those sections do get thinner and thinner. So far, I can only see 3 different sections, which I believe is all that we get, with the 3rd highest setting section being the thinnest, which is not scary thin, but it's thinner. It just makes sense that we're gonna have some wobble over here. But at the end of the day, as long as you're not trying to violently shake your stuff, you're gonna be fine. Now, when it comes to going down, instead of having to press the down key and hold it, I'm just gonna go ahead and press number 2. And with that, folks, I don't know what else to say. I am incredibly A, grateful, and B, happy with this desk. This is one of those parts of my setup that I overlooked for way too long. Flexispot has an amazing product on their hand. Great quality. It comes with everything that you need to put it together, and it comes with extra things that you typically would have to pay additional money for, along with some really cool quality of life features that you probably wouldn't even think to look for in a desk. The desk can support a lot of weight, which I'd be surprised if anybody out there in the content creation sphere even comes close to hitting that 440-pound maximum. And if you do, let me know who you are, and I'd like to see your setup, because that's got to be something crazy that you got going on there. I'm not talking about you, Barney. The motors are relatively quiet. They're not loud, they're not obnoxious, and the movement of the desk from going up and down is incredibly smooth. This is a phenomenal desk. I don't know what else to say or how else to say it, but if you're looking for a desk, and even if you're not, I want you to take a good look at what you have now and think about, can it be better? And when you get to that point and you make the decision that it's time to get a new desk, I want you to skip the Amazon desk. I want you to skip the IKEA hacks. I want you to skip all of that. And I want you to seriously consider something from Flexispot. All right. I don't get anything for this. I got the desk, that's it. There's no affiliate links. There's nothing at all. There's no commission. I am telling you right now that to me, investing in a desk like this is the same as investing into a very expensive chair. It's good for your health. Now, sitting and standing obviously isn't going to solve all your health issues. If you have any, I pray that you don't. But the fact that you know your setup is safe on a sturdy and reliable surface and frame is worth more than its weight in gold. And it's also a very good looking desk. So with that said, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all so much for watching. I hope you found this video informative and helpful. If you have any questions regarding the E7 Pro and Flexispot, please let me know in the comments below. Until next time, be good to yourselves, be good to one another. Peace out.